TIFU by creating the most awkward moment between me and my son. I'm a parent who values privacy, but apparently not enough to remember the golden rule of knocking. My son, a typical teen, spends hours in his room, usually gaming or doing homework. So, I assumed that, like any other day, he was just playing his video games with his headphones glued to his ears. My son also spends a lot of time watching a certain kind of streamer on Kick and Twitch. Hot tub streamers. I think you can see where this is going. It was late afternoon, and I hadn't heard the usual sounds of COD battles or his occasional shouts at the screen. Concerned he might be sleeping too much, I decided to check on him. In my mind, I'm being caring and involved. No knocking, because why would I? I've barged in a million times to reminders of chores or dinner announcements. I swing the door open and freeze. There he is, in all his glory. Definitely not gaming. Half-naked streamer on his screen. The horror on his face matched only by mine. Time stood still. But really, I noped out of there faster than you can say, awkward. We've mastered the art of avoiding eye contact since then. And, knock before entering, has become my new mantra. Lesson painfully learned. Always knock, folks. Because some images are seared into your brain forever. And to my son, if you ever read this, I'm sorry. And yes, I'm now traumatizing the internet with our shared embarrassment. Let's agree to never speak of this and lock our doors from now on. TLDR, I walked in on my son in the middle of something. Lol, get him a doorknob with a privacy lock. The kind you can unlock with a screwdriver or butter knife in an emergency but stops you from opening it without warning. My dad walked in on me once at around 14, and a couple years later I walked in on my folks. The absolute worst and most embarrassing thing you can do is try and talk about it with him. Never ever bring it up again and you will both heal with time. It's a canon event. I'm a parent who values privacy. I barge in rooms without knocking. Don't blame yourself off. Parents walking in on their children in that moment is etched in fate. It cannot be avoided. History and reality will always rewrite itself in order for it to take place. Even if you traveled back in time to stop it from happening, you'd find yourself in a closed time loop that ultimately results in the same event occurring. All that said, this reminds me of The Fairly Odd Parents, where the father barges into Timmy's room using a pillar as a battering ram. My eyeballs, sadly, can attest to the same thing. In my case, he remains blissfully unaware, so I carry that burden alone. All I can say is that you're doing something right if he doesn't constantly have his ears alert when he's at it. I had no privacy as a teen, and to this day my hearing is more acute during the act. But wahahahahaha, there's a mistake you only make once. My son also spends a lot of time watching a certain kind of streamer on Kick and Twitch. Hot tub streamers. Lol, and you still thought he was innocent. That's cute. You need to send him the "Air ya winning son" meme to break the tension. Surely you knew that teenage boys masturbate. Tell him it's okay. Perfectly normal behavior. Don't make a trauma out of nothing. No knocking. Because why would I? Quote, because you're a parent that values privacy. Maybe? Also, WTF is with parents thinking sleeping is an issue that needs to be addressed? Listen, I had my poor mom walk in on me when I was a teenager. The worst thing you could do is bring it up. Don't mention it, ever. You and your son will forget it. Eventually. It will be a funny story he tells his friends when he is older. My wife finds my story hilarious until I tell her she has 3 young sons. LMAO, but then she reminds me those 3 sons have an older sister that I could walk in on. So I'm super religious about knocking now. And now so will you be. Ha 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 ha. But that's life. I am the mother of 2 boys. Rule number 1, always knock. Rule number 2, never. And I mean never. Open the door without being invited in. Rule number 3, always make a lot of noise and announce your arrival while moving about the house. I feel like just about every healthy parent-child relationship has had this unfortunate situation. Parents aren't being nosy or attempting to invade privacy, they just either A. forgot to knock or B. in my specific case, dropping off laundry that they nicely folded to be a good dad and saw door closed but not fully latched. So rather than knocking as normal, they announced, "I have your laundry," while hip-checking the door, and received instant regret. I was living with my grandparents for a short time while my mom was going through a divorce. I was 14 at the time. We were living in a mobile home. One night I heard a thud from their room, and them being old, I was so concerned that someone was hurt. Imagine my surprise when I rushed into their room to an absolutely naked grandma and grandpa. Grandma fell off the bed because the sex was too intense. And she told me that. Lol. I brought up even the possibility of this happening with my so, and now. Not only does she knock, she clears her throat loudly beforehand. Totally okay. Next time be sure to knock. We are all just humans and have needs and urges.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.